Welcome back to Passionate World Radio Network. To become successful, one must put themselves in the path of a giant. Passionate World Radio Network. And today from 110 to 120 on Lillian's interviews, Lillian-Cauldwell will be interviewing Mary McNear, who wrote the book, The Light in Summer. So good afternoon, Mary. How are you doing?
I am very well. Thank you so much, Lillian. I'm delighted to be on your show.
Well, I am delighted to have you here. I read The Light in Summer twice. First, first for the enjoyment, and then second to really read it. And I must admit that you're one of the few able to capture just exactly the big difference of summer relationships versus winter. And I'll tell you why. Summer, I think it's more freedom to explore your relationships, where in winter you're a little more inhibited.
You know, that is fascinating that you said that, Lillian. It's absolutely true. And I don't know if it's the warmer temperatures. I don't know if you're wearing less clothing. But I think you're right, and I really tried to get at that emotion, that sense of possibility we feel in summer, that sense that anything could happen, you know, especially on a summer night. It's just so qualitatively different than a winter night, isn't it?
I think there's more hope during the summer.
I think, yes, I do too, especially since the character in this novel lives in northern Minnesota, where, as you know, the winters are long. So summer really is only a brief window of opportunity, right?
Yes, and I think, too, that winters in colder places are harsher. So you really have to have your survival mode geared up.
Yeah, right. No, I think that's absolutely true.
And I think in summer, it's more of a fairy-like type of kingdom where you have the summer solstice, which sets the tone. It's the first day of summer, and June and July are magical, and then August, everything rushes into the new year.
Yes, that's true. In fact, the Butternut Lake books, which always start at the beginning of summer and end at the end of summer, there's always a preview of fall by the end of summer. There's always that one tree across the lake that started to change colors before the other trees, but there's definitely a harbinger of colder weather to come, because anyone who's ever lived in the northern Midwest knows what that feels like, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I think the emotions of I was a single mother for 15 years. And by the time I got remarried, my son was 15. And around 13, 14, they're not very nice.
Oh, Lillian, it is so, I have talked to so many women about this, that moment where you think, wait a second, what happened? You know, you were my best friend, right? We were partners in crime. We did everything together. I knew you like the back of my hand. And all of a sudden there is this feeling like, wait a second, who's this person living in my house now, right? So I really wanted to explore that relationship and you know, with Billy and her son, as I'm sure with you and your son, you come out the other side of that, right?
You come around, let's see, he's 43, you're almost there. But I have to tell you, and they do come back and thank you for helping pass through that rite of passage. Because for them, it's just as difficult. Oh, they know what's right. But who cares? I mean, if they figure it out for themselves, then they really haven't done any homework for it, have they?
No, it's true. And one thing I did, which I think a lot of parents of adolescents do, is, you know, I turn to the parenting books. But as I have Billy say in the novel, you know, the advice they can give is so conflicting, right? You know, hold on tight, but not too tight, you know. Set limits, but not too many limits, you know. So really she gets to this point where she feels almost paralyzed And everything she says at one point, everything she says to him is sort of just this tentative trial balloon, because you go for years without really paying attention because, you know, your kid loves you and anything you say is fine, and then all of a sudden everything you say somehow elicits a shrug or an eye roll or a sigh from them. So I tried really hard to capture that dynamic because I think it's something that all parents who've had an adolescent can relate to.
And it's because, too, they themselves were once that age. And I tell a lot
exactly.
of parents, just remember what you did, now magnify.
Oh, I know.
Because the surroundings is different.
Yes, exactly.
So, Mary, could you please tell everybody where they can find you on the World Wide Web, where they can find your book, and anything else, advice?
Oh, sure, of course. Okay, so they can find the books obviously at independent bookstores, at larger, you know, it's at stores like Walmart, obviously online at Amazon and Barnes and Noble. And then, so the series is now 5 books. There's going to be a 6th book in summer 2018. They're all set in the fictional town of Butternut, Minnesota. And they're a series, but they're all designed to also be able to be read independently. So, yeah, so I just want them to be fun and easy and summary, but I also wanted them to have that emotional resonance as well.
I think what it is that you are casting your anchor out into the sea, and wherever it lodges, it will stay.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I mean, I'm an author, so I know that when you have somebody read your book, you want them to have something that lasts, something that stays and resonates with them. It's not so much like you're going to pass your book on to the next generation, but you really want to make sure that you're emotionally satisfied.
No, you're absolutely right. It should be kind of like having a good meal, right?
Yes. Sushi is very nice.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've met Mary McNear. Now go out to the library, but better go out to a bookstore and buy her book, The Light in Summer. You can hear this interview all over again at https://passionateworldradionetwork.com, twitter.com/Caldwell, facebook.com/PWR Network LLC, googleplus.com/PWR Network, and yes, youtube.com/PW Network LLC. And before you go away and stray, Joe Burr had this to say: genius begins great work, labor alone finishes them. Thank you all very much for listening, and remember, please keep listening. Thank you.